Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Drop Frames. OBS decided to change my sound stuff, or maybe it was Windows. Who knows? So hopefully everything's working. What's up, Co?
OBS is a jerk.
It is a jerk. I don't. It might have been Windows though. You never really know who the culprit is. It just
True.
you start your stream and then you realize that you've been talking to literally no one but yourself. And then yeah, you have to fix it. So hopefully it's
There.
fixed. And,
Did I hear you yell like you're fucking done in this town?
Yeah, no, we fired someone in the opening of the stream. Yeah, they're done in this
Oh,
town.
okay.
They're never allowed back into Twitchville. What's the name of the town that all the streamers stream to?
Washington.
Twitchington? I kind of like that one.
I have no idea.
I like
Uh,
Twitchington. Streamtown USA? No, because then the Europeans would get mad.
Oh,
Maybe there's actually Streamtown UST or USA, and then there's Twitchington, which is the European version of that town. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe.
the Twitchington Esquire.
Yeah,
Sounds good.
sounds good.
You can do that.
Because they had Esquire on there just because.
Just cause.
Because
Yeah,
it sounds
Suddenly a
good.
lawyer.
it does. Yeah. Co, what episode are we on?
Let's
Oh,
see.
shit,
I think
hold on.
it's 35,413.
Okay. Are you tying your shoe? What is going on here? You're literally. Oh, okay. You're lacing your shoe. Okay.
This is my very first pair of mail ordered shoes ever. So I'm excited to see if they're gonna fit or not.
What is that? Just a store or a shoe that you bought on in an online store? Is that what you mean by mail
Oh
order
yeah, yeah.
shoe?
It's a pair
Oh.
of Vans.
Okay.
Just a pair of shoes. I've had the same. Yeah, it's kind of funny, right? Because here we are, like Twitch streamers that are doing pretty well. I've had the same single pair of shoes for 6 years.
Oof. I mean, I understand that.
So like the
Yep.
only reason I'm
Wait, did
I'm
you guys
actually
buy the same shoes?
No.
Oh,
Well,
close.
The only
these are
reason
my
I'm getting a new pair of
old-ass,
shoes-
like
Yeah.
Adidas. Like these are like 5 years old. Like I've been wearing these fucking things
Yeah.
because they don't like. I mean, we don't walk around a whole bunch, for work or anything, so
That's
they don't
true.
get worn out.
Yeah.
And in fact, like
Well-
I don't really like even, wear shoes.
Zeke, that cost extra money. Okay, let's make sure to remember here where we're at. We could charge for that. Okay.
That's true.
That was
That's a
for
very good
that was for a fan, and you know who you are, and you're welcome.
Okay.
point. That was a little sneak peek of Zeke's upcoming subscriber only stream. Get ready, ladies.
Yep.
That's the name of the stream is Get Ready Ladies.
And guys.
Yeah, /guys. Get ready. Yeah, ladies/guys. Exactly.
Put on screen, please.
Jesus Christ. I don't even know where to begin. You guys want to start? Well, Co, you mentioned, I think this article like just went live. I don't know how much relevant information there is, or not relevant, but good information maybe is a better word. The Verge interviewed Emmett Shear, and it looks like the subject matter. The title of the article is Twitch CEO Emmett Shear on how moderation creates communities. Did you skim through this? Was there any new
did.
tidbits?
There's not too much new stuff. It's mostly just kind of confirming what we've been hearing. Hello?
You're there, but the webcam's frozen. But it's a good
Okay.
freeze. There you go. Now you're
Oh.
back.
Sort of. Oh Lord. Okay. Anyway.
I don't know what's happening. Anyways, continue on, please.
Okay. Anyway. So yeah, it's mostly just kind of like what we were hearing. A little bit more. Wow. That's crazy. A little bit more detail on some of the stuff we heard at the last TwitchCon stuff about how they're trying to be more transparent. There's some good quotes in there that I'm actually really glad were said. Like, actually, I think the next one down on the page, like, it's very explicitly not a free speech platform. That's a memo that many people don't know about Twitch. There's another one down there where it says, like, specifically, like, we are not upholding the First Amendment. Like, dude, it's good. It's good to get this stuff out there. Like, people need to understand, like, which is a business. But here's some stuff where it gets a little bit more murky, because one of the kind of big things that's been going on about Twitch lately is the favoritism towards larger accounts. But if you scroll down, he actually says something specifically along the lines of like, and I don't know if it was, yeah, there we go. We're just less afraid maybe than some people to pull the trigger on bad actors who are popular, which is a little bit strange because that's kind of like the big feedback to Twitch right now is that they're not being consistent on based on the size of streams on their stuff. So maybe that was kind of something he's saying that joined with that other quote about transparency. And he's trying to say like, this is what's coming. But I will say that I feel like people that are kind of getting on Twitch right now are going to read that and be like, but that's exactly what.
Yeah.
So overall, it did look like a good article. The big thing is though, is one issue that Twitch has had over the last few years is they're not doing what they're saying. And like the big thing that a lot of people remember recently is when they had that big like hold us accountable, like we're going to be transparent and we want to make sure that you guys make sure we are too. If that worked, we wouldn't be in the position we are now where they're basically having to do that a second time. So it was kind of a strike one situation, and this is their second time at bat. I'm really hoping they learned from their mistakes the first time around. But again, unfortunately, it's the kind of thing where only time will tell, and we can't unfortunately just be like, yay, Twitch is being more transparent, because they said this before, and we're here now.
Yeah.
We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, it seems kind of
cautiously optimistic.
Right. Yeah. It seems like a lot of stuff he's he kind of said in a way at TwitchCon. He's reiterating on a lot of that in the article.
Yep.
Huh. Okay.
It's basically that keynote kind of in article form in a lot of ways.
Right. Yeah. Which is interesting. I don't know. I guess we'll see what happens from that.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke, any thoughts on that? Or, I mean, you interviewed him, so this is probably all stuff that you've heard already firsthand.
Yeah, you're the one that actually did the interview we're talking about.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say about this at all. I have no feelings about Emmett Shear or Twitch. I am just a streamer. I am not a shill. Please don't ask me questions about this.
Okay. All right. Noted.
If I had I'm kind of sad that I don't have any cash in my wallet right now because I wanted to take out a 20 and just be like,
yeah, just. No, I feel like if I say anything nice about Twitch or about Emmett, because like I met the guy, I'm not like friends with him or anything, but like he's just a normal guy, kind of a nerd, but I get the distinct feeling that he actually fucking cares about this shit. Yeah. Like that's I mean, he's a human being, so you can pick apart like word by word everything he says if you want to, but the sentiment, the general overall feeling that I get from him is that this shit is complicated. It's a business. It's a huge business, and in order to do things correctly, like it's a slow process. Everything moves slowly, and he's got his own like people that he's beholden to, like Amazon and the board or whatever. So,
one thing I was a little bit curious about, though, Zeke, and I think you're in a kind of a unique position to answer this. A lot of the places said that his horns were only 2 inches, but I heard they were more like 4 or 5.
Yeah. Where how long?
I missed the middle of that. What was that?
How long are his horns? That's what he's asking.
His horns.
His horns.
They're like cat claws. They're
retractable.
Retractable.
Yeah.
Oh.
Thank you. That
There's a word for that though. That's not retractable.
Prehensile?
No, prehensile means you can grab stuff with it.
Yeah.
Bilingual. No, I'm just throwing
That's it.
I'm just throwing it out. Steve.
Hablas español, amigo.
His horns speak 2 languages, believe it or not. Oh man. Wow. Anyways,
I can't believe we made it through that whole thing without a horny joke. Good job, you guys.
Good job, everyone. We're growing up after 30,000 episodes. We did it. We've moved past it.
I honestly thought there was like an actual like medical or whatever term for things like the cat claws, the thing they can do. I didn't think it was just retractable. I thought there was an actual like specific term, but maybe I'm wrong.
Who knows? Any vets in the chat that could tell us? Zoologists that would let us know? Who knows?
Bilingual people?
Also bilingual people, they might help there. Could translate, perhaps, if the vets are not English speaking, let's go with what Nihilistic Bat says. It's Wolverineism. That's obviously
that sounds like a word.
It's a scientific term, 100%.
Perfect.
Did the AC just kick
Is there a
in?
rumbling you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, that's my garage door.
Oh.
I'm right above my garage.
Okay.
My wife's getting home.
I thought it was an AC kicking on or something. Let's start the show. We'll answer some questions because we haven't answered questions in like a couple of weeks, and they've started to build up. So I feel bad. So we'll do that.
Before we get to that, can I ask Code, like, how was your vacation? What were we doing? What's going on?
It was great. I had a very good time. So for those that don't know, I left North Carolina at 7 o'clock on Sunday afternoon, flew to LA, was on the ground and awake for like less than 5 hours, and then I got back in a plane at noon and flew back to North Carolina. So I feel so dumb saying this, but it's, I've signed documents. I can't talk about it. It's the kind of thing where they made it clear to me, you're signing documents that say if you talk about it, this will not happen.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh, okay. But TLDR, just to put it down, it is somewhat game related, but not directly, and it is not related to me streaming on Twitch or anything like that. So those have been the big questions. Like, oh, dude, can you not talk about it? Are you going somewhere or something happening? No, I'm going to keep streaming. Everything's good. It's just it's something that is a very cool thing. Obviously, I don't leave my house often, especially to spend 14 hours in a plane in 2 days. So it was, of course, a very big deal. But it is not something I can talk about yet. The second that I can, you will know. So yeah, that's where we are with it.
There you go. Question number 1.
Yeah.
What are you gonna add to the Zeke? Do you have any thoughts?
I was gonna make a dumb joke like, yeah, Ko went to LA to pick up a new mixer for his kitchen. It's the only place that they have it.
Nice. Well done.
It's a really good mixer.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't want to say it, because it was a really dumb joke.
Yeah. No, I should have workshopped that one a little bit more.
Fucking workshop.
Question number 1 from Crazy Dan from like 3 weeks ago. How far in advance does your schedule usually stretch? Is it a lot of work to set up schedules, and does it ever get overwhelming?
Ooh.
I think that depends on time of year. I mean, I have stuff usually like months out, but I don't really focus on it, but it's set in stone. And then I have some stuff like a week ahead. In terms of all the shows, we usually don't know if the show's happening until the week prior, in terms of like drop frames and roleplay and stuff like that. And sometimes those shows are canceled last minute, as everyone's aware. In terms of actual like what I'm streaming and what games I'm playing, depends on like if game releases are coming out. In terms of if there's no game releases, the schedule is usually like, we're going to play this game and then we're going to finish this game, and when we finish this game we're going to find a new game to play. Sometimes I find that game in the middle of that playthrough, other times I don't. So yeah, I guess that's my answer to that. What about y'all, Korzek, whoever wants to jump in?
For me, if it's a single game or a game that I know I'm going to play, that's when the schedule can be kind of drawn out. So it's the kind of thing where if like Outer Worlds coming up, I can safely tell people I'll be playing Outer Worlds all day for days as soon as I get access.
Right.
Things like that. Also, if I know I'm not necessarily going to finish games, then things become a lot easier as well. So like today, I did Man of Medan, I finished it, which was great. Tomorrow morning, Beast Within. Tomorrow afternoon, Asgard's Wrath. Friday, Chernobylite. And it's like I'm not doing full runs of these games right now. And then my weekend schedule is basically like, I'm just going to finish up what I want to out of those games. And that's kind of cool too. But the big thing with streaming is, especially with games that are longer and you're not sure if you're going to finish them, that can dramatically affect your schedule. And also, a lot of times when you're playing a game, you may really like it at the beginning, and then it kind of starts to drag. And then it's like all of a sudden you're playing something the next day that you weren't planning on it. That throws everything else behind it out of whack. So our job is a little bit unique in terms of, unless you have the exact prepackaged time allocated and you know exactly what you're doing, that enjoyment factor can strongly influence if a game's going to be 4 hours, 10 hours, 50 hours, if it's a big game. Like a great example for me was Fire Emblem. I planned on trying Fire Emblem, and I had a bunch of stuff scheduled afterward. It ended up taking me over 90 hours.
Yeah.
So it's like, that really kind of screwed up the whole schedule. And the last part of my Fire Emblem playthrough, almost every day I was like, hey guys, doing another full day. Sorry. Like, I didn't expect this either, but here we are. And yeah, so it's a bit weirder of a position, because if we're not enjoying a game, it is not in our interest to stream it. Even if we've said we're going to, even if we said we're going to finish it, especially if we aren't close to the end. Like, those are not as entertaining streams. If streamer's not having fun, a lot of times the viewers aren't having fun. So
Yeah. Zeke?
Yeah, I have a bot command in my channel that me and my mods can use, and it's just hashtag plans, and then it pops up with a note from the bot saying plans Zeke, and it just shows my laughing face 3 times, because I barely schedule anything. Like if I have something that is scheduled like 3 days out, that's kind of a big deal for me. You know, mostly it's just I have like a list of games that I want to do, and I just kind of muddle through them, and then if like a new game comes out, I'll like slot that in. Like I was doing much to the dismay of a lot of viewers. I was in the middle of doing what I thought was going to be a Devil May Cry franchise run. I got through 1 and 2, then had to leave, came back, some games came out, and I ended up playing those, and I've never gone back. And people just know, like, if I say I'm going to do something, it's iffy if I'm actually going to do it, unless there's a contract signed. If there's a contract signed, like for a sponsored gig, like I mean, I will definitely do that, and I'll fulfill my end of the bargain there. But as far as planning shit out, like I don't get, like, it's been a long time since I've been super hyped for a game release, like enough so that I like mark it on my calendar and stuff.
Right. I think that's pretty common around Twitch as a site. I think keeping a schedule on Twitch is kind of not the norm for most broadcasters. So
unless it's just like when you're on. That's
Yeah.
essentially our best schedule is I will be on doing something between these hours.
Right.
Real quick though, to talk about something Zeke said, and it's really interesting you said that, Zeke. I made a mistake early in my streaming career where I took a 16-hour sponsorship for a game. I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. It was, I think, Civ 5 Beyond Earth or something. It was a Civilization game.
Oh,
And at the time it was what?
If it's Beyond
Yeah,
Earth,
yeah.
then fuck.
So at the time it was like, oh yeah, sure, 16 hours. They want to pay me for every hour. Awesome, this is great. I'm pretty sure to this day that's the only sponsorship that I just went back and was like, I can't finish this. I'm sorry. And actually, these days I have a hard limit. Like, if 2 hours is my default. Like, if you want to sponsor me to play something, it's 2 hours, and I need to want to play it on top of that. Like 4 hours, like I better know I'm gonna like that game. But no, Zeke is absolutely right. Like it's knowing how far you can go with that kind of stuff, and knowing how much you can enjoy something. Especially if you're not sure if you're going to enjoy it. Like for Civ, I wasn't sold on Civ. Like I've played Civ a lot, and I really like Civ games. But streaming Civ games and playing Civ games are two completely different things. So yeah, like streaming the Civ games for me was hard. And by the end of the 8th hour, I went back to my management. And I just said, I don't know how we do this, but we're gonna have to let them know I don't want to do this anymore. I'm sorry, I don't want to do, like,
Right.
just cut it off, cut our losses and run. But yeah, that's a very important lesson that streamers kind of need to find their balance with that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
one of the first gigs that I got, it was like, well, not I got, but one of the first gigs that I was a part of, it was like the second or third ever like sponsored thing that I did, and it was with Men versus Game, and they sponsored us to do a 24-hour stream of it was us together, so we could like keep each other, you know, energized and in check as far as, I don't know, tiredness and hydration or whatever goes.
Yeah.
But it was for Tom Clancy's new game at the time. It was a Splinter Cell.
Oh,
Right?
okay. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Conviction or something like that?
Yeah, whichever one. It was 4 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that.
I think that was Conviction.
Yeah,
Anyways.
That's right.
5 or 6 years ago. But anyways, we didn't just play that for 24 hours. They said you can play through all the Splinter Cells. So it was like we played 1, 2, 3, 4, and then ended the stream, which was very, very silly of them to have that be the last game. But that's actually like side note, that's where we met the real Tom Clancy's son in the chat.
Oh, he stopped by. Nice.
Yeah, he's an avid Twitch watcher, apparently.
Yeah. the only 24-hour stuff I've ever done was Final Fantasy. That's because I usually stream that game for hours on end, so that was an easy one. But
Yeah,
I'm
no brainer.
yeah, I'm kind of like Co, where more recently companies have started to do by the hour. And you can kind of, at least the ones that I've been approached by, have been like, how many hours do you want to stream? It's like, well, it depends on the game. And so sometimes I'll just say no to that because I know that I'm not going to be able to enjoy that game, or I'm not going to be able to not enjoy that game. I'm not going to be able to stay focused on that game for more than a certain number of hours. So that's nice. But I think generally, like, yeah, this is kind of diverging from the question a lot, but I think it's relevant for information for people watching. Yeah, like 2 to 4 hours tend to be kind of the general number of hours that sponsors will come by for streaming their games. So, yeah, yeah. Didn't you do a 24-hour for WoW expansion? No,
Is it sponsored?
no. I've never done any. I'm pretty sure all of the Blizzard sponsorships went away when I said fuck Hearthstone on. I've told this story before, but when I said that on the TwitchCon stage, I'm pretty sure Blizzard was like, "Well, let's put him in the blacklist bin and never speak to him again."
That was a fun little jaunt with JP.
It was fun, yeah. Yeah. He went from hosting BlizzCon to never being spoken about again. But it turns out I was okay with that. You know, it just had to come to fruition a couple of years later. Uh, let's move on to the next question. For those of you with a child involved in your lives, what is the stance if they would ever express an interest in streaming? If positive, how much is out there that you feel you need to warn them about, as well as to look forward to? Zeke, what about your kid? If they ever got into streaming, what would you say?
Oh, by the way, a lot of people
say-
don't know this. I have 3 kids.
Yeah, Zeke's got 3 kids. Yeah.
I'd say, who are you? Who's your mother? And how did you find my address? And then, secondly, I'd be like, wait, before we stream, have you ever had a beer?
Jesus.
Dad of the year. Love it.
Yeah, I think I don't know how much. I guess you can answer this in terms of like a futurist, like in the future type deal, because your kids are still your kids. You're not
2.5
putting your
and
kids to work. You're not saying like, all right, you gotta get a job, man. You're almost 3. Like, what are you doing?
Well, I waited until at least 5.
Okay,
But it's
all right.
it's with I get that question all the time with my kids. And the first thing I stress to people is my kids aren't going to do any streaming unless they are proactive about it. Like I've definitely been in streams before when parents have pulled in kids and the kid has been not super enthused about what's happening, and it is an extremely awkward, weird, and uncomfortable situation. So that is the first kind of like putting that foot down. Second of all, it really depends on what they want to do. So like, of course, the first time I would stream with my kid ever, I would be with them. I'd be imparting all the tips and knowledge that I could with them. But also, it's kind of like if a kid wants to play Minecraft and they're like, "Hey, Dad, will you mod for me and keep the chat clean and stuff?" That's one thing. But if my kid is like, "Yeah, I want to go play Counter-Strike and League of Legends, and I just want to sit on just chatting and play YouTube videos," like stuff that clearly would divulge into either like toxicity or like potentially very adult things, or especially on YouTube, like even people that know what they're doing on YouTube will frequently hit something that will get them banned or see, do something that they shouldn't be doing. If the more risky it is, the more I would be like, not until later. And of course, the younger they are, the more I would want to be there to be helping, and that kind of thing. And it's in terms of like solo streams and stuff. It would. I'm thinking like 16 to 18. I know that seems kind of old, but honestly, like it, it's kind of like, and that may change, of course, but the internet's kind of a raunchy place, man. And as somebody who grew up on the internet when my parents didn't really fundamentally understand it, it can be extremely damaging. It can tell you things that just simply aren't how life work. It can build up expectations for the way things work that just simply, again, aren't how life work. So being a guiding hand when kids are in those teenage years and are very impressionable is very important for me. So yeah, that's kind of how I am. Like, for instance, I grew up for a long time. There were a couple young years of my life where I thought racism was just something just something people did on the internet. I just thought it was a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it didn't even surprise me when I saw it. And because my parents weren't like, fundamentally understanding what I was doing on the net and all the stuff I was doing, they weren't there to be like, no, that's terrible. Don't ever do that. So then as I get older and I realize what the hell's going on, I had to literally like disassociate from people from my childhood because I was like, dude, wait a second, all that stuff you said, you're just a racist.
Just a
Like
racist,
you're just kind of trashy. And so yeah, again, being able to kind of like make sure all that information has the right context and perspective. Until I'm comfortable with my child being able to brave the internet alone, I will do everything I can to be there and help.
Yeah, it's also impossible to like escape that stuff. Like,
Really is.
it's very, very like. One, I know how smart, or I know how smart I am in terms of how stupid I am, and how easy it was for me to get through all of that stuff when I was a kid. And I can only imagine now with how like technologically adept people are at the internet at large, and how young you can be to do all that stuff. Yeah, it's pretty smart.
Dude, it blows my mind when I'm like out shopping or getting groceries or something, and I see parents with small children with them, and you just see the kid holding a phone, and they're just like going through YouTube, like public YouTube, like nothing's going on. They're just sitting there watching video after video. I was passing someone in a grocery store, and I could hear the kid looking at the screen. He had to be 3 or 4 years old, sitting in the little kid section in the top part of the grocery. The mom is off talking to her friend, and it's a song, F F F F F F F F F U F U. Like I think it sounded like the Jay and Silent Bob thing from back in the day, but it was like, and this little kid's just staring at it, and the mom's not even paying attention, and I'm sitting here like,
Yeah,
okay,
it's tough.
like,
Man.
I can't. I'm not gonna say anything, but it's just like Jesus, man.
It's tough for sure. I also
yeah,
wonder because
yeah.
like Aaron's kid is 10, so she's kind of at that age now where everyone in class watches like YouTube and talks about like everyone basically wants to be a content creator. I think that's the number one job that kids her age these days, especially in like later in middle school, they all want to be like streamers or YouTubers, and it's that in itself is just like, well, we're fucked. Uh, but I wonder if in like 8 or 9 years, when your kid's of that age, if that's going to be the same. If it's going to be worse, like, I don't know. I guess we'll have to see with that stuff.
The interesting thing is, and I was talking to someone about this. You know, when we were growing up, and we always told our parents, and we told people that we want, you know, I want to play games for a living. I want to be a YouTuber. It's like at the time when we were doing all this, you could point around and there'd be like single digit people that were actually being like super successful with this stuff, and streaming like on Twitch and that kind of thing, even less so. But as the current generation gets older, they're going to be able to look around and see hundreds to thousands of streamers, YouTubers that are making all their full income by doing this stuff.
Yeah, it already
So
happens.
for those kids, it's going to be like, if there are all these people doing that, and that looks incredibly fun, and obviously it's something I can do, well, why would I do anything else?
Yeah, it's already happening. I mean, that's already.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, well, I mean, I guess you could go to school and, you know, learn how to be a teacher or an archaeologist or, you know, something. Or I could play video games for a living. And it's like, I wonder how many kind of those things that would have been completely different 20 years ago, like all those interests that would have been pursued, instead just kind of get funneled into like gaming and what everything else is doing.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm probably the worst person to be saying this as a Twitch streamer.
Right.
But
yeah, that's weird.
yeah.
That we're just like, oh god, there's gonna be all these.
Yeah,
Twitch streamers.
I know, right? Yeah, I don't want competition, is what I'm trying to say. Go get a job so you can make money and give it to me.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, but yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, it's gonna be kind of wild to see how it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. Aaron's kid's been on stream multiple times. She's streamed like Minecraft with Aaron. They're playing with her and stuff like that. It's not. I think they call her the stream overlord on Aaron's channel. But yeah, she's usually like there guiding and all that stuff. So it's not really that big of a deal. And I think maybe because of the fact that it is so easily accessible to her, from what I can tell, she has no interest in becoming a streamer or a content creator. So we kind of dodged that bullet.
Well, I think the way to get your kids not to want to do something is do it as a parent.
Do it yourself. Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping.
Yeah.
That's what I'm hoping. Like my son, it's gonna be like bring your dad to work day, and Rowan's gonna be like, "Oh, my dad is such a nerd.
Yeah.
God, he just plays those dumb RPGs. He doesn't even play Fortnite."
That did
yeah,
happen. Yeah. For Erin Wynn did that for her kid at school, and she was definitely like, she showed pictures of Aaron like hanging out with Ninja and stuff, and she immediately became the coolest mom in school. So like, they've got that clout. But yeah,
you guys get this a lot, right? People coming up to you, it's like, oh, they're like, oh, so what are you doing these days? Like someone you're catching up with, like, oh, I stream on Twitch. It's like, oh my God, my 10-year-old wants to do that so bad. Like all the time I get that shit.
Yeah. We have a lot of Twitch clothing, being that Aaron works there and I stream on Twitch. And so that happens a lot when you're just out in public. And it's actually becoming more recent, or more common recently, because Twitch is becoming like such a big name out there. The second someone sees you with a Twitch thing, it's an immediately it's conversation starter, and I hate it so much. So much that I've stopped wearing Twitch clothes outside because I don't want to talk about. I don't. It's scary to me if I get recognized anywhere near my house because I'm just like, oh God, what if they go online? I'm doomed. It's over.
But then there's those moments.
You imagine JP with a big black shirt with white letters on that just says, "Don't talk to me."
I don't mind being talked to. I just don't want to be talked to about my job. I already do that enough.
Like, talk to me about my whatever it is. Do not talk to me about Twitch.
Yes, that's what Twitch needs to get a shirt of, and that should be the partner jersey for the future years, 100%.
But then every once in a while, like I don't know if you've ever had a moment like this, but I was in New York visiting friends, and I was on the subway, and this kid who was from Spain, he came up to me, and he was trying to speak English to me and he was doing a very good job, but he looked at my shirt and he goes, "You streamer?" And I went, "Yeah, I'm a streamer on Twitch." And he goes, "Oh my God!" And we started talking about video games and stuff. And he watches Fortnite, and there's a Spanish Fortnite streamer that he really likes and that kind of stuff. And I reached in my bag and I got out a pen that had the Twitch logo on it, and I was like, "Here you go." And he like, and he like, oh my God, he was like losing his shit about it. It was amazing to see.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Good deed.
Man.
Hopefully that answers the second question there. Where is the third one? Oh, here it is. Sorry, they're all jumbled together. Third question. It seems that many developers have tried to build hype for their titles out of sheer visual appeal. When being shown an upcoming AAA game, what do you seek out that personally encourages you that it will be, quote, good, as well as personal red flags that let you know it will be, quote, bad? I don't know if I judge games on looks anymore. I don't know what I judge games though on in terms of if I'm going to play them from like a visual appeal. I don't. Do either of you have an answer for that off the top of your head?
For me, I'm the same way as you. I am especially these days, like I'm not a huge pixel art guy. I don't find pixel art to be like stunning. I know that some people like the aesthetic.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm kind of like, I wish it looked better. That being said, when I see a pixel art game, I don't go, oh, this game, doesn't look like, I'm going to like it, so I'm not going to play it. I immediately go, oh, how does it play? Like, what's the gameplay like? What are the systems like? What are the mechanics like? A great example of a game I just played was Blasphemous. Like, if I would just look at that, I'd be like, oh, okay, it looks kind of pixel arty, 2D Dark Souls, whatever. But then I actually played it, and I was like, oh, it's a lot deeper. Like, these themes are crazy, and then a bunch of adult stuff happens, and it's like, whoa, okay, this is clearly, So it's that kind of thing. Same thing with, like, Outer Worlds coming out. It got a lot of flack because people said it looked very close to Fallout New Vegas, that even though it was on Unreal 4, they didn't see, like, beautiful, stunning visuals like they were hoping. And I'm sitting here going, it could have looked like New Vegas. Like,
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. It didn't matter at all to me how pretty it is. Like, I want the gameplay, I want the characters, I want the fleshed out storylines, I want the companion quests, I want the areas to explore, the mechanics, the perks. That's all it comes down to at the end of the day. I would always take a hidden graphic or a bonus almost anywhere else in the game.
In my encourages you that it will be good, and personal red flags that it will be bad in like a hype trailer or something like that. Both answers are gameplay. If you're showing gameplay in your trailer, like actual in-game gameplay, that is a good thing. Like, that's a bonus. If you're not showing gameplay in your trailer, that's a red flag going. And I know the logistics of it, but it's a red flag going, why aren't they showing gameplay
Right.
immediately? And I know that the trailer is they're trying to sell the sizzle, and not the steak at the moment, or the gameplay isn't ready yet, but they can make a trailer to show you stuff. I get that, but if they don't show you gameplay in the trailer after you've seen a couple, like, or if you've heard about it for a little while and it's a new trailer or something like that, then it starts to be like, why aren't they showing gameplay, man? And they're probably like, the reason is like when we watched the Death Stranding, like the trailers were super great, and then you saw like the gameplay and you're like, wait a minute, walking in ladders, is that all? That's probably why people don't do a lot of gameplay trailers.
I think it's
and then the last thing, the last big quote that has come out from Death Stranding, you can play this game for 10 hours and it barely begins.
Yeah, there's a lot of weird quotes out there. I think it's hard to make a trailer for a game now, especially one that shows gameplay, because games are so fucking complex these days that I'm trying to think of I guess, what's it called? What's the fucking Destiny? Anthem. Like, Anthem gameplay that they showed looked pretty cool. It kind of sold me on, I guess that's why I kind of got into it.
I still like Anthem gameplay.
Yeah, but then I played it for me specifically, and I was like, oh, this is a little bit different. Like, it looks a lot better than it plays, is maybe what I would say.
Dude, I'm even a step further from you. I enjoyed the gameplay, but unfortunately, it's like when you have gameplay, you need to have other pillars that give you reasons to keep playing the game.
Sure.
Unfortunately, that's what Anthem didn't have at all.
Yeah.
So, oh man, yeah.
So I don't know. I'm honestly, and probably unfortunately, a lot of what will get me to play a game is if I know the name, like Tales of. Okay, I'll play that game. I don't need to see it really. I'll check it out. Final Fantasy. Yeah, I'll probably play whatever the next number is, or whatever the colon name is on that.
You realize you're part of the problem, JP, and that's why we don't get new IPs, just reimaginings of shit.
JP is actually skirting on the edge of something that I wanted to mention.
I don't know if I need new IPs. Go ahead.
A lot of times you can give games. A lot of times you can give games. I don't want to say passes, but you can still get excited for a game even if you haven't seen exactly what you wanted or expecting. If you have faith in the studio, if you have faith in the people that are making the game, a lot of times, like a perfect example is Kojima. Like, we see this kind of boring gameplay. You know, a lot of people are saying it's uninspired, but a lot of times those same people are like, but it's Kojima, so I'll give it a chance. And it's like that kind of stuff. Like, people ask me why I'm so, like, why are you sold on Cyberpunk? Like, it could come out and be a flop, right? I'm like, it could, but look at Witcher 1. Witcher 2 was a huge amount better. Look at Witcher 3. It was a huge amount better than Witcher 2. And now we have the next thing from that same studio. It'll probably be at least as good or better than their last project because we have a roadmap that shows us that's how they do it.
Right.
That's what makes me excited because I have faith in the developer. So, that's why a lot of times, especially some of the devs come out with completely new products. And, they'll like a good example was that Respawn, I want to say, whatever the company was that made the weird Amazon All game, and they did something completely different the time before that. But a lot of times it's like, and I'll have to remember that one. But it's a lot of time it's like if you really like the dev and they can deliver a quality product, you'll try something completely outside of your comfort zone because, well, you trust them to deliver quality.
Right.
So,
yeah, and I think the other answer, like, to jump to what Zeke said in terms of like brand new IPs and stuff like that. Honestly, trailers don't do that for anymore. Like, I go and watch a stream of it. I'll just find a stream or a longer form video that they'll put out of gameplay stuff and be like, all right, do I actually like this game? Watch 30 minutes of it. Okay. I guess I'm into it. And then I'll play it. It's very rare that I'll like jump into a brand new IP completely blind from a trailer. I'm trying to think of the last time I did that, and I'm having a hard time doing that. So, yeah. It's weird. Twitch is kind of shaping a lot of, I think, purchases across the obviously that's probably why it's so successful across the game world, and a lot of people use it for those purchases as well. Yeah, I guess maybe Control would be the first one, although Control's, I don't know if it sold me via the trailers. Maybe it did because it was just weird, and I was like, oh, that looks weird, I'll check that out, and then it happened to be good. So
happened to be incredible.
Yeah,
I actually do like a lot, like on Indie Sunday and stuff like that. I've started to do a new format where at the beginning of the day, we watch like a little bit of the trailer for each game that's on the menu, so everybody can see it before they vote for what the next game is. So that's kind of what they have to go on. So like that's like a good trailer will definitely intrigue me for sure, and sometimes even sell me on the game.
Yeah, I mean, yes. I don't want to take credit away from trailers. I think they do exactly what they're meant to most of the time.
I've always equated trailers to kind of like when you're smelling food. It's like sometimes, it's kind of like you're getting a hint of what you might get. Sometimes things smell great and taste great, and that's awesome. But sometimes things smell really good, and honestly, they're just not great, or the texture's off, or all sorts of things. But it gives you a kind of an initial indicator on if if you smell something that's bad, you're probably not going to touch it. You might like it, but the chances are pretty low.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of.
Yeah, it's something I would like to have Rami on again one day and talk to him about, like the art of making a game trailer, and from like a dev perspective, what that looks like. Because obviously, like E3 trailers are one thing, and that's a whole fucking another mess. And like indie trailers, I'm sure are one thing. Brand new IP trailers are one thing. Final Fantasy trailers for the next Final Fantasy are like. There's so many different variances there. It'd be cool to like talk to him about that type of stuff.
Yeah, I'm wondering how much of it is the game devs or publishers going like outsourcing that shit, being like, okay, here's what we got. Can you make us a snazzy trailer for this? Like, is it do they give it to a production company to make the trailer, or do they make it in house?
Yeah.
Or how does that shit get done? Because sometimes Rami's answers are great. Like, how do you decide what to price it on Steam? Is like,
yeah, who knows?
like that was such a fucking like eye opener. I was like, really?
Yeah.
You just whatever. He's like, yeah, kind of.
There's probably some math done there. We would hope, but maybe it is.
Well, I'm
yeah.
sure, but
yeah. Churning through these questions. This is great. Fourth question. We got two more. He did submit some more questions for this week, but I guess we'll just add those to the pile. With over 200 episodes of Drop Frames, has JP ever wanted to take a break from running the show and let Ko or Zeke host it for once? If either of them hosted their own shows, what would they call them, and what topics would they cover? I don't know if I ever wanted to take a break, but I wouldn't be opposed to letting Ko and Zeke host the show. So if you guys ever want to do that, just tell me, and you can have the reins on it for whatever.
I honestly, I'm not going to speak for Zeke here, but I know one of the reasons I like being on this show is because like I can say whatever I want when I want. I mean, yeah, you're hosting the show and everything, but I never feel restricted by it. It's not like a lot of other shows where you're kind of like leading me and Zeke on. We're kind of all just saying what we want when we want. So
that's true.
I like that you do all the work and I just get to talk.
Yeah. I mean, yes. There's also no script. Like I don't sit there and what you see is off the top of my head the second the show begins. There's no planning here. I think
we were so much more structured at the beginning.
We were. I think there was like Google Docs.
We found our stride pretty quick though. Like,
yeah.
and once I remember we got to the point where I think maybe a half a year in or so. I remember at one point it was just like, what are we talking today? Oh, we've done this enough times. We'll figure it out. Like, let's just go. And then it's ever since then, it's like, okay, you have a guest this week? No, okay, cool, it's fine.
I think it was like episode 20 or so that stopped. Yeah. Then the second part of that question, if either of them wanted to host their own shows, what would they call them, and what would the topics would you guys cover? If you have an answer for that, either of you.
I would host the Conspiracy Show, and I would it would all just be rumors and conspiracies and lies that I would make up.
Nice.
To both increase my own standing on Twitch and try to push everyone else as low as I can.
Nice.
I'd probably do like if I did my own show, it probably wouldn't be like 3 hours, maybe 2 max, and it'd probably be an indie show, like just going through like Steam, looking at indie games, watching gameplay, chatting about it, checking it out, spotlighting like up and coming like awesome devs or whatever, and maybe having like indie people on like as guests on the show and shit like that.
Wait, were we supposed to give a real answer?
It doesn't matter either way. I don't think it matters.
And it would be called Indie's Nuts.
What? But then,
Thank you.
okay,
Thank you, Zeke.
that would only work if you
And
had
that's what the
someone.
title would be.
Yeah, that would only work if you had someone on the show named Nuts or something like that. You got to get a broadcaster named Nuts, or change your entire brand. You know.
Zeke and Nuts.
Welcome to Indies Nuts. My name is Zeke III. This is my boy Nuts. Hey, what's going on, man?
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
You just get a little puppet. Just like,
yeah. There you go. There you go. Get it. It's a puppet show about indies with Nuts. Mm-hmm. Be good. I'm waiting to see what Zeke is about to pull out of his
I was
variety
gonna
bag
say
here.
I got
Yeah.
one. Wait, hold up.
Indies Nuts. My name is Zeke, and I'm nuts.
There you go.
You want to get some gaming on, motherfucker?
Was that a Trials gag? Where is that unicorn from?
No, I've had that unicorn. It's been a part of my channel for a while. His name is actually Mr. Business.
Oh,
And I found it in Las Vegas. Like I was at there's a
You
place that's
found
called
it?
like, well, there's a place that's called like the largest convenience store or something like that in the world. I
okay.
can't remember. It's like at the end of the strip or something like that. I can't remember the name of the place, but it's semi-famous.
Okay.
And I found it like just hanging on a, just as merchandise. I was like, is that a unicorn in a suit hand puppet? I have to have it. And I brought it, and I brought it up on stream one day, and I was like talking with it, and he has I've never watched Metalocalypse or whatever, but I think it's Metalocalypse with Dr. Roxo or whatever his name is. I had no idea. I was doing an impression of Dr. Roxo. I had no idea. And the other thing is, I also had no idea that, like, he talks about drugs and cocaine, and that's what his job is. Mr. Business is a drug dealer, and he sells like all kinds of drugs, and that's his like shtick. So anyway,
there you go.
off tangent.
All right, Cole, what's your tangent? You went and got something.
We could do so. Zeke, me and you, we could do a show about games that maybe like weren't so great or didn't live up to expectations. So it could be like, yeah, today we want to talk about. Oh, did somebody say bad games? Oh yeah.
Is that an official Pimp Boy there? I've never seen that. I've never seen that merch. Huh.
Yeah, the show would be 76 minutes long.
Yeah, that would be a fun goof. 76 minutes with Coe and Zeke. That's the name of the show.
Yep.
You just talk about bad games. There you go.
Talk about games that let us down.
Yeah, that too. It can have multiple topics. It's easy to do. Yeah. Next question with
Threshold Kids with Coe and Zeke.
Oh God. Jesus Christ. Let's not. I don't want to think about the Threshold Kids anymore. If you don't know who the Threshold Kids are, you're better off for it. Don't Google.
No interruptions.
Jesus. I don't think I found all those. I think I missed one in my because there's 4, right? Is there more than 4? Okay.
I found them all. Yeah.
I think I missed one.
I'd love to be in the meetings where they came up with the subject matter for that stuff and like we're writing out the actual scripts.
Yeah.
Oh,
I can tell you how that shit happens. Like, because that's basically the pre-show stuff.
Sure.
It's just like, how does this happen? Well, we kind of get around and go like, what if it had a stick for a head? Like, okay, I'm feeling that. Do you want to put googly eyes on it? It's like, what if we put something else besides googly eyes on it? Like, and that's how it works. It's just like, you just pass it back and forth, and then eventually it's like, oh, we're out of time. We're going with what we got now.
Makes sense. I guess that makes sense.
So a stick with googly eyes, spaghetti hair. We're putting a dress on it, and it wears frog shoes.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Let's
do
go.
it.
Roll it.
Let's make it.
What are frog shoes? We got to get those.
We need some frog shoes. Someone go get the PA on it. Next question was spoilers being somewhat inevitable in chat. I can completely understand the purpose for an emote only mode. However, how long is too long for such a restriction? Is it even viable to do an entire stream without having chat pulled up at all? Multi-part question. I don't think you can leave an entire stream in emote only mode. Although I did do that for, what was that for? It was recent too. What game did it? Oh, that was for Nier. Because I was playing the end of Nier, and obviously I think that one's like, especially how long it's been out, that one's pretty easy to spoil. And luckily it actually was fine, but I think that if it was another game, that wouldn't go over so well. How long is viable to leave that up? I think about the time that I left it up for Nier. I think if I went any longer, people wouldn't understand. And then is it viable to do an entire stream without having chat pulled up at all? I mean, some streamers do that. Like Strippin doesn't even read his chat
That
ever.
way.
So you can you can just continue
Is that a
on.
slam or is that a truth? It's got to be
Oh,
a slam, right?
It's a
There's
little
a lot
both.
of streamers that barely read chat, or I mean, think of all the streamers that just have completely unmoderated open chats.
That's true. Yeah.
You can't read anything in those. It's noise. It's white noise.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's actually more common than people think. So those people are just putting on a show and like feeding off the energy, not any of the particular messages or words. Like
Right.
cheering at a concert.
Yeah, it's a good way to put it. Actually, like cheering at a concert. Never considered it that way. But yeah, Zeke, if I'm playing a game that has like 3 or 4 people, it's very hard to read chat, let alone respond to chat. So I think that's pretty. I mean, you know that whenever you have someone over, it's probably the same. For someone that's especially
why-
so clued into chat, yeah, that's why you don't have people over that often.
Well, no. If I have someone in the room physically with me, it's fine.
Okay.
Because we'll bullshit, but we'll also like have fun calling out chat because we're sharing the same chat. When you're co-streaming
Sure.
with somebody, you're not sharing the same chat necessarily, and it's also it's always feels so uncomfortable to me. That's why if someone wants to do like, hey, you want to do a co-op stream? Like, can we do it where you're live and I'm not? Because I'd much rather do that. Because then I could look at your chat or like we could be looking at the same chat and commenting on the same things in the chat and stuff like that, rather than like having to mute myself saying, hey guys, I'm sorry I'm not interacting as much possible or much as I usually do because I'm, in a call with 3 other people or whatever. Please forgive me. Or like pausing it like during like a, when you're queuing up or whatever and being like, all right, we got those new subs. Thank you for the tip.
Yeah. And some people can do that because they've done that their entire stream. Like that's just how they operate. But some people can't.
I live
think
and breathe chat interaction. I could not stream without it.
Yeah, yeah. I think I can do both. It just depends on. Like I guess I can go into different modes pretty easily. Like I said, if I'm streaming with multiple people, it's very hard to read chat. But if I'm just streaming by myself, obviously it's much easier because you have no one else to interact with except for chat. And I think, like Ko said, there's streamers that once they hit I would say like the 10K minimum or even like the 5K viewer streams, chat just becomes, if they're a very active chat, it's just like reading the Matrix. And luckily streamers can just find the bad words and the bad comments and be like, fuck you. Everyone else, you're great. But fuck that guy. So,
I've been in high hundred streams where chat is nearly unreadable. It all depends on like if the streamer cares about spamming, if the streamer cares about the copy pasta. Like you don't need to go into the thousands to have chats that are just
true.
Deluge of I was gonna say refuse. But that's not the right word. Noise, I think is better. Just tons and tons and tons and tons of text with very little meaning. Yeah, that's more of a decision the streamer makes than I think like an indication of the amount.
Yeah.
Of people.
What to the original question was kind of about spoilers and not necessarily how to deal with them, but I'm trying to. It's one of those weird things where I don't want to talk about upcoming games and spoilers because then it kind of eggs people on. But now I'm talking about egging people on and spoilers for future games, so I guess I can. Like Death Stranding, pretty big story games coming out. Are you starting to read chat less, or do you not care, or do you have someone in your like? How do you handle that?
Honestly, like you guys know about my spoiler system. I've talked about it a few times on stream, and honestly, ever since I've been doing that, it's been amazing. I've made it through so many games that have huge twists or spoilers, like 999, the Danganronpa series, the Somnium Files. Like I made it through all those games without a single spoiler. And the thing is, if your community is behind you, what's up?
How did you do it again for those that don't remember?
So basically, what I did was about 6 months ago, I made an emote, and it's spoiler. And all the regulars that come into the stream know how this system works, and it's exponentially good. So basically, if a spoiler ever pops up in chat, then the subs will start spamming the spoiler emote. Oh. And the thing is since I'm not directly reading chat, if I see a wall of that out of the corner of my eye, that is the general chat telling me, don't look at chat right now.
Yeah, I've seen the
I can tell-
anti-spoiler like Kona brothers like
Yeah,
because
exactly.
it's kind of
Sort
means
yeah,
like
it's a little
anti-spoiler
shield to
spam
chat.
or whatever it is.
That's exactly right. It's basically like a little shield the chat holds up and like to shield me from the spoilers. And I know for a fact because I've had like other viewers watch and things like that. Many spoilers for those games I just mentioned were posted in chat. A few of them just saying the ending. And I didn't know until I was done and looking for them that they had happened. Because anytime I see out of the corner of my eye that those emotes, I just know, hey, keep playing the game. Look back in chat later.
So,
And sure enough, it works.
what do you think it falls on the streamer to guard their chat from that, or do you think people enter chat with the idea of like, I'm watching a stream, it's gonna have spoilers. People in chat could spoil this for me, so I'm kind of going on at my own risk.
It's all about intention. So like I would say that it's if you're all playing a game for the first time, that's one thing. But at the same time, if you're playing near years later, then there may be those jerks that want to come in and literally just try to ruin it for you. Trolls, just straight up trolling.
Sure.
So it's the kind of thing where I think if viewers are wanting to be crystal, like no spoilers at all, I know for a fact a lot of viewers will just turn chat off. They won't read chat because they won't have that buffer. Another big thing that has been kind of making the rounds lately, Man vs. Game actually recently posted about this, and it's an idea that's come up more than a few times, where having a spoiler tag in chat. So if you write a message, you could flag it as a spoiler, and then it would show up as a black box, and other people would have to mouse over it. Now, the two huge downsides to that would be, A, the mods would have to read those messages.
Right.
Which means that your mod team would basically be exposed to spoilers like 24/7. And that sucks for your mod team, to put it bluntly. Especially if they haven't played those games or they're watching along with you.
Right.
And the second thing is God knows what channel rules can be broken in those, if you don't have the mods watching them carefully. Go ahead.
But it's no different than watching any day period. Like if they have to watch the chat anyways, and they're gonna get spoiled on a game that you're playing if they're watching chat no matter what, if you have the like bar or not.
The spoiler tag flags to the viewer talk about spoilers in my chat.
Yeah.
So for instance, if you go into a chat room and there's no spoiler tags and the streamer has a no spoiler thing on the thing or on his tags, then it's gonna be like, oh, I'm not supposed to say spoilers here. But if you go into a stream and there's a spoiler system and all this stuff, then they may divulge or go into things that they never normally would have because it's there. So you're encouraging spoilers by implementing a system like that. You're encouraging people to talk about spoilers. And also another thing to think about is, imagine like if a spoiler discussion started in your chat, so half your chat is big blocked out lines and the other is like actual text. It'd get really old after a while.
It gets old after one post, especially when someone does like a giant block, like they're trying to have formal discussion about something. There's been times where it's just like, hey, stop, go into whispers.
The thing is though, like the concept is a really good idea. Like for instance, imagine if mods had like a retroactive spoiler thing and we're using the delay. So like they would read the messages as they come through, and if they see someone type a spoiler or guess or something, they could like click that message and assign it as a spoiler. So the viewer wouldn't be the one setting it; it would be your mod team. Of course, that would mean delaying chat and stuff, and the mods reading every single message, which is its own issues. But I mean, there are different benefits for different types of systems, and I do kind of hope that Twitch tries to tackle this, as they haven't really too much yet, but it'll be interesting.
Well, it doesn't mess with Fortnite at all, so I don't see why they would. I mean, I'm not. That's not a joke.
No, I know.
Yeah.
I know it's not.
I'm dead serious.
Here's my take on the whole spoiler thing. And you are a new game player. Like you are the person that a lot of people go to watch a new game being played that was just released. I have the luxury of being someone who can still, make it on Twitch by playing games from all different, eras, like years and viability, like CD-ROM games and PS2 games, blah 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 blah.
You play literally whatever you want to all the time.
Yes.
It's great.
But when it comes to something like it's a very rare occasion when it's a game that I am so into that I do not want to get spoiled at all. I will play it offline. I will not play it on Twitch. And that's kind of the thing you have to, like, the deal you have to make when you're a streamer is you have to be either you can just rage every time someone like spoils something and try and teach your chat and like, you know, fucking piss into the wind by like being like, you know, slamming every time you get a spoiler, or you can fucking like live with it, pretend like, honestly, the thing that's worked best for me, pretend I never saw it. If I see a spoiler, pretend I never saw it.
Yeah.
Don't call attention to it.
Well,
And also people who spoil, a lot of times they don't mean to. Like their intention is and it sucks because I flew off the handle at people and they're like, "Oh, I was just guessing. I've never seen this or played this before." I'm like, "Oh, sorry," because what you just said happened and you called it. It wasn't a tough call to make, like predicting what was going to happen, but you put it in chat before it happened, and that's why I got mad at you or whatever.
Yeah.
by the way, Zeke, you said something kind of interesting, but there's another side to that issue, and that is the longer and more side content the game has, the more chance even me playing it on release, I'm going to get spoiled. Because there are so, like Outer Worlds, for instance, there are so many big streamers. They're going to start up Outer Worlds, and they're going to go talk to the main guy, and they're going to go talk to the guy that guy tells them to, and go right to the next guy, and they're just going to do that until the very end of the game. And they'll probably be done with the game, if it's anything like Fallout New Vegas or other games, they'll probably be done with that game in like 15 to 20 hours. Hopefully. And then you have people like me, where it's like I get to a level, and especially on my Outer Worlds run, like every bit of that level is getting explored before I move on. Everything I can do will get done, and that's going to slow my playthrough down exponentially. So then I have to worry about the people that are watching those other guys, because their runs are going to finish before mine. And then what do they do next if they keep on watching the game? They come into my stream, knowing the end of the game.
Right.
And it's like those situations. I mean, I got completely wrecked with Fallout 4. I had the entire ending spoiled for me when I was.
I remember that.
Through the game.
I remember that.
Yep. And,
man.
And I played that game early. I played that game. I was one of the first people to play that game on Twitch, and I still had the ending spoiled before I was at the end. So, yeah.
Not to give anybody any ideas, but I had to give kudos to the person who spoiled Fallout 4 for me, because he invited me to his Steam group.
Oh yeah,
with
that's
the
pretty
name,
common.
with the
name?
spoiler in the name. Yeah, no, I've never had that happen before. But it was like, you're invited to the Steam group. Blah 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 happens at the end of Fallout 4. I'm like, fuck you, but I'll tip my hat to that.
No, don't tip your hat to that shit. That encourages those assholes. Untip your hat.
At least, please, consider it untipped.
Consider it untipped. We do not tip your hat.
Yeah. I've had a similar thing like that where they actually renamed their Steam account. Like the name, like so and so dies at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, and I got a friend request during the stream, and I was just like,
the worst is those.
Thankfully, my sponsor block was over it, so I was the only one that saw it.
Nice.
And I remember just being like, I even said during the game, I was like, "Yeah, I just got the ending spoiled."
Yeah.
The worst is the Twitch name spoilers people.
Yeah.
Like rename their Twitch account.
Yeah.
The spoiler, and they tip you because
tips.
It's harder to.
Yep.
It's hard. It's harder to like, because you can't, like, unless you shut off your alerts completely.
Yeah.
Like, you can ban them. Like, if like the mods can ban them from the chat, but if they tip you, that's a way, like, kind of through the ban unless you shut off your alerts.
Yeah. Alerts kind of promote a lot of that shit. I know, like when Endgame came out for Avengers, I just took that week off. I didn't tell anyone why I was taking that week off. I just said, no streams till I'm going. I'll be back Friday. That's what I did. I just left for like 4 or 5 days. So I think if I care enough, I'll just cut off all ties to the streaming world for a while. But I don't know if I'd ever do that for like a game. I don't think there's a game that I care enough about where I would play it offline so that I didn't get spoiled while streaming it. So, yeah.
It was the last two things. Last two games in memory were God of War and Horizon Zero Dawn. Those are the ones I did not want any part of spoilers or anything like that. So I didn't play them off online. I just played them my own time.
I can see
I got spoiled very close to the end of God of War, but the best part was I completely misunderstood the spoiler.
Oh.
I was
Wait,
like,
what? That game's so like black and white.
What do you mean? He shows up at the end? Oh, cool. Like I had no clue what this guy was saying. and he had tried like 3 times. I've been told later to spoil me. So yeah, even though I kind of like I had an idea, I had a name,
Huh.
it still blew me away when I got to the end, and I was like, oh, that's what that guy meant.
Huh. I'm trying to think of like how it's not an ambiguous ending. I don't know. I'd have to see what the messaging
Like,
was.
the only thing is like it's basically. Can we just real quick? Like,
I don't care. Yeah, we'll put spoiler hands up.
Quick.
Spoiler hands.
I was told a name and told it was at the end.
Oh.
And I thought it was like he showed up and did something. But then you find out the kid. And that's when I was like, oh!
Okay. All right. I get it.
Yeah. So I had a completely different idea going through my head about the spoiler. I was just like, oh, is he gonna show up and save us? Or is it gonna be maybe he's the new character in the next game? Like, no clue. So yeah, that was thankfully.
Yeah, I get it. Next question. With the assumption that becoming self-conscious before a stream could be a problem, how much time, I'm sorry, I'm laughing. How much time do each of you spend on your appearance before you start up the stream and turn on the camera? How often do you decide that you don't want to be seen on stream that day, and how does that affect the stream as a whole when you don't show yourself? I can't speak for the two of them. I don't think I care too much about my appearance when on stream. There was a time when I didn't stream with the camera, and that wasn't because of my own appearance. That was just because I didn't want these fucking lights in my eyes for about 6 months. And then I got over it. But I don't really spend time like making sure that I appear one way or the other on stream. If anything, it's like, does my lighting look okay? It's not, do I look okay?
My green screen showing?
Yeah, is my green screen showing? Not like, hey, you've got a blemish on your nose, JP. It's like, oh, who fucking cares? Everyone's got blemishes on their nose. Like, I don't care about that shit.
2 points or 2 things I want to say. One, I think this question would be better suited to someone who puts more effort into how they look on stream, i.e., makeup and hairstyle and that kind of stuff. Because I don't think any of us on the show really do a lot of that stuff. It's am I clean? Or for me personally, more importantly, do I look clean? Like, do I look like that's why I'm wearing a beanie today, because I didn't shower this morning.
Oh, so that's like, I don't feel ready for the day unless I take a shower. Like, if I don't take a shower, then I accept that I will do nothing that day. So that's just like a personal thing. That has nothing to do with the way I look. It's just, yeah. Co, what about you? Do you trim your beard every day so you don't have a raging neck beard?
Oh, God. Yeah. No, people who know me and are regulars know that, like, I mostly get on in the morning. I go, okay, chat, how we looking? We good? Okay. Crazy eyebrows today? No? All right, we're good. No, so that's I mean, you're talking to a guy that hasn't gotten a haircut in 5 years. So,
well, not that his hair doesn't grow that slow. He cuts his own hair, is what he's saying.
I just shave my head like every 3 months, and that's it. So no, I used to not shave my hair all the time, and funny enough, it just for some reason matched over with me wearing a beanie every day. It's just wild. I know, crazy, right?
It's weird.
But yeah, it's just yeah. I mean, honestly, the thing is I know myself enough to know that people aren't coming into my channel for my stunning good looks.
Right.
So because of that, it's not exactly my focus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, for someone like me, like, you guys have had the same look forever, and I constantly change. Like, I'm doing shit with my hair, like with my fucking facial hair, my beard, and like all that kind of stuff. So
you actually change your look more than a lot. More than most people. I know.
Yeah, and that's why it's so difficult for me to take. Like, I recently did a photo shoot for the rep company that I'm with, Loaded. First time I ever did a professional photo shoot, and I had fucking purple hair, and I was like, this is gonna last not at all, like 3 days, and then it's gonna be gone. Like, fuck. But it doesn't matter, because I will never I'll never look the same from month to month to month.
Yeah.
Yeah, my current Twitter profile I changed just a couple days ago. It's probably like the best picture of me that you can take. Not that I've had done, but it's like just that's the pinnacle of how I'm gonna look in a photo. So
I gotta say,
and that's it.
I was gonna say don't take this the wrong way, but I don't think there's any other way you could take this. Did they enlarge your neck muscles in that photo? Because it looks like you're like, I don't know what's happening.
I know.
But your
I
neck
know.
and like
Oh, no,
upper
no.
arms
Here-
look
hey,
crazy.
listen.
It's like
You
you've
did
been
it.
working out or something.
Like dad mode. But wait, you ready for this? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Ready?
Yeah. Oh my God. It actually does make your neck bigger. That's actually what that was.
You gotta get that. You gotta get that little angle. You gotta get
Yeah.
that little angle, and then it all kind of like builds.
I guess it's the angle.
There you go.
Yeah,
I know,
go
it's
look
like-
at
No,
Cody's.
it's not muscle even. It's just tendons.
It's just tendons, yeah. But I mean, yeah. Go look at Cody's Twitter profile for what I'm talking about. If you want to see what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah. I saw it.
Yeah.
It's so Flanders. It's wonderful.
It is Flanders. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I was actually happy to have like a picture that kind of was representative of me, because every gamer picture I see is that fucking arms folded, dead-eyed stare fucking esports picture. And it works for some people, like people like Ammunition can fucking pull that off every time, and it's because she like is a very skilled game player. But for people like me who are not, it looks fucking weird, especially for someone who's as animated I am, and I'm very rarely ever serious. So I was glad that I got the chance to like show that shit off.
Yeah. I think 6 questions is good for the week.
Did you ever know Cam Co?
What?
No Cam stream?
Oh.
Oh, me? Oh, at the beginning. Absolutely.
I thought you were asking if you ever knew Cam. And I was like, who the fuck is Cam?
I was like, Cam who? That's exactly what
do you know Cam?
Am I supposed to know Cam? But no, I didn't use a camera for my first actually for a while. I didn't use a camera. I didn't even know you were like supposed to use a camera. And then for a while my camera was just like a box that was just like sitting in the bottom left of the screen. And then honestly, I think it was Man vs. Game. When I watched him the first couple times and I was like, oh, so this is what a professional looks like. Okay. Like, and that's where I started kind of like, my first green screen was a faded blue bed sheet.
Nice.
I spent 3 hours trying to get it working right, and nothing I did would work properly. I didn't even know what the words chroma key meant next to each other at that point. So yeah, it was rough. I mean, it was a learning experience for like the first half year. But, you know, we got, now I've got 4 Elgato key lights and a wall, you know, back here. So yeah, a little bit different these days.
Yeah. It happens. What time? We got about, we'll do this last bit as news. Riot was out there yesterday celebrating their 10 years of League of Legends, and they also announced 70 new games coming to Riot.
No, like, that was a really impressive performance.
Yeah.
With the announcements and keeping all that under wraps for it, and then just basically like dropping some of the products, like that's pretty cool. Honestly, I'm kind of excited for this too.
This sequence right here, not that one, this one right here, if you would have told me that this was a reskinned CSGO, like the shooting, I would have believed you. But then the second they start doing other things, like it looks nothing like it. Which I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm saying I'm okay with that, being someone who's a fan of playing CSGO and watching CSGO. But it looks very much like CSGO gunplay. The shooting does.
I got to admit, dude, I'm exactly like you. I first saw that gunplay, and I was like, oh, this is like CS2. Like, this is looking cool. And then the second they started talking about, like, oh, and you'll have a variety of abilities and characters, and I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I'm really hoping with this game that they put in a no class mode. Like, one of my favorite game modes back in the day was Unreal Tournament Insta-Give. Unlimited ammo, everyone gets killed in one shot, everyone's on the exact same skill level, and it just comes down to how good you are at shooting and moving. And I miss those days. I was in a clan that only played that game mode, and it was awesome. And there's not been a game like it until, like, since. So I'm kind of excited. It's called Project A. I'm pretty excited for it, but I'm kind of in the back of my mind, I'm praying there's like a no classes mode, because it looks really cool otherwise.
Yeah, they focus.
I know. By the way, before everyone riots, I know I'm in the minority with this thing. Apex, Overwatch, most people really like classes. There's a reason they're putting classes.
I guess. I mean, I saw a lot of people saying like, "Oh, I don't like Overwatch already exists. We don't need another one." I saw a lot of that, at least in the Twitter sphere that I have.
They did, even though we do see a knife ability that does get a kill, a few subsequent things have come out have said that the game is designed around most of the kills being done with aiming and shooting. So, and most of the abilities apparently are going to be kind of like a support style abilities, like the wall we saw and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really hoping that that's going to be the focus because that could be pretty freaky.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks cool. This is one of what, like 3 This is called, for people who are like, what's the game name? Show it. It's called Project A. It has no name. It They said it's very early on. So much so that it's called Project A.
There was Project A. There was the League of Legends mobile project that they're bringing out on console and mobile. And then there's a card game that I actually saw. I was lurking in Kriparian's stream. He was playing that this morning.
Yeah, Legends
Look,
of
I'm not a big
Runeterra.
card guy, but he seemed to really be enjoying it, and it looked fully featured. And there's definitely some things going on that I had not seen in other card games. So, I mean, maybe TCG fans are looking at that with, some excitement. We'll see.
I mean, they announced 2 other things. They didn't show them. There's a fighting game coming with the creators of Evo behind it. They were out there kind of, I think earlier this year they announced that at Evo. And then there's also an RPG, I guess based around like the League of Legends world that they're also announcing.
What is it, an ARPG like Diablo style? What were the details on that?
I'm waiting on chat to answer that because I don't remember all of them.
Were there any details?
I don't know. Also a TV show was coming out as well. They said Diablo style.
Oh, it is an ARPG.
Okay, it looks to be an ARPG.
Okay.
Huh.
Cool.
That's a weird.
Interesting.
I mean,
hell,
if anyone can do it right, it can get out there and throw a shit ton of money at all this stuff. And if one sticks, I guess it's fine, right? Like,
and also it might be free to play, and then it's like all of a sudden there's like UE players have an option, So I mean, that could be very interesting. I mean, Riot tends to do things properly when they put their mind to it. So
yeah.
I mean, I don't even play League of Legends, but I'm still excited for a lot of these announcements for the same reason we were talking about earlier. I actually have faith in the developers. Like, I don't play what they do, but I know they can do it well.
Right.
So I'll try their other products and see how they are. Sure, absolutely.
Yeah. Also, there was an esport manager game, a league esport manager game. So I think that's like Football Manager, but for esports that was announced. So
By the way,
completely
real
out
quick,
of our
just
wheelhouse.
a quick cameo. Drop Frames cameo.
Uh-oh.
Little Kai, he's getting bigger, but he says hi. Hi, everyone from Drop.
How old is Kai now?
Kai is just about 7 months. Yeah,
Jesus.
just about 7 months. Little tiny man. Little teeny tiny man. And was walking by.
Yeah, no.
Definitely.
Time's got to stop moving so fast. I keep looking at the calendar, and it's fucking almost November already. It's crazy. Trying to see if there's any other news. Blizzard got out there and had an apology. I mean, that's what they called it. I'm not saying it was an actual apology. It was more a statement, I guess.
Is it a sorry you were offended kind of a thing?
It was a
sorry if you got offended by that.
It was a we're pushing this out at 5:30 PST. Let's hope
On
you
a
guys forget
Friday.
about it.
Yeah.
Oh,
it was
man.
really interesting because I want to say it was a formal Blizzard exec or a former big company exec put the quote up, and this tweet had more likes than the original one from Blizzard. It was basically like, just want to make sure everyone understands, 5 p.m. on a Friday, specifically directly after the news cycle for that weekend, means you are trying to bury. Like, there's no way around it. Like, that is the witching hour, that you put things there for a reason. And it's because you don't want the cycle to pick it up. You want the weekend to make new stories. By Monday, you want them talking about something different.
Yeah, it's a known news tactic.
Yeah.
They also canceled their Overwatch for Switch event that was at the, I think, Nintendo store in New York. That was canceled due to fear of protest. And now we're getting closer and closer to BlizzCon, and it's just like, what does that look like? Like, a lot of people that were going to BlizzCon were like, it's just cancel culture, and it's not going to be there in 3 weeks. People forget about it. I don't think they're going to forget about it, man. I think it's going to be, that fire's still going to be raging 3 weeks from now, and probably even at the peak. The college team that apparently showed the sign got a 6-month ban as of today. That's like the most recent development. So, yeah, that's a whole fucking mess. It's a whole mess. Cannot wait to see what happens at BlizzCon. It'll be as Ko said, it'll be the first BlizzCon that I'm watching every single panel on, just to see what nonsense occurs.
there is a small growing amount of people that are planning on going cosplaying as the Hong Kong May skin.
Yep, I've seen that too.
And some of them are putting a lot of time and resources into it. And I'm really curious if those people are going to be stopped at the door.
Yeah, I guess it doesn't matter who I was talking about. We were talking about this on stream the other day, and I started to like question if, say when you go to security and you're wearing a Winnie the Pooh shirt, and Blizzard's like, all right, we're not allowing Winnie the Pooh shirts or merchandise into the venue. What happens when like that group of protesters is like, all right, everyone buy red shirts, and that's going to be what we get as like a symbol of our protesting?
Yep.
Does Blizzard ban all red shirts forever?
Well, dude, think about what 4chan did with making this a racist symbol, and then all of
Yeah.
a sudden, like, everyone picked up on it, and now it's a racist symbol, and it's like, all it takes, if those protesters are smart, they just have to like start tying in their symbology
to whatever.
with like normal everyday things that are going to be there, and then it's like Blizzard can't do anything about it. There's nothing they can do.
Yeah.
If it's something that people would wear just because, yeah. Oh, did I just get canceled?
Oh,
shoot.
yeah, you gotta be careful with that.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
That's
man.
that's so weird to me with that sign, because that even today it's always just been okay to me. Like it's always been okay.
It was a really
Always.
weird thing. I was at the Stanley. This is not me bragging. It's just where I was. I was at Stanley Cup final game for the Blues game 4 or whatever, and that goes to like the previous owner of the Blues, and they like show him on, and they get him on like the big screen in the center, and the first symbol is he goes like that, and I'm just like, God damn it, is that guy a racist, or is he just saying nice to see you guys?
Well, dude,
like,
you know from back in the day, it was okay.
Yeah,
O and the
so-
letter K. That's
so-
all it was.
I
You're
don't know
making
what
the
that was.
letters with your hand.
Yeah,
It's not like rocket science. It's not like an obscured meaning.
I don't.
It's so weird, dude. It's so weird.
Yeah, let's be honest. He's from.
JP, if you could kind of reel back the bragging a little bit.
Yeah, sorry about
I'll
that.
appreciate
Also, he's an old rich guy from St. Louis. He's probably a racist. I mean, just,
Okay.
it's fine. What else is going on? Yeah, BlizzCon, to put a cap on that, it's going to be a shit show. Make sure to tune in. They should just like, if I was the people running BlizzCon, I would just not ban a single thing and let whatever is going to happen. Because the second that you try to police that is when it becomes bad. That's when it becomes a problem. Is when they actually have like pushback. I'm sure the people that want to run the event want to do that. I'm sure BlizzCon or Blizzard Corporate is like, we're not fucking doing that. Like, have you seen how much China has in this company? Like, we can't do any of that. So, yeah.
It makes me wonder how much they're going to be pressured from the outside. Like, don't allow the May skins in there. Don't allow anyone wearing Hong Kong stuff in there. Like, I wonder if a larger faction will swoop in and kind of like try to dictate that for them.
I don't know, man.
Such a weird time with that.
It's really weird. Looking through the rest.
I'll
of
be
the
buying a
news.
BlizzCon ticket for the first time ever, though.
A virtual ticket.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to is DirecTV doing it again this year? Do you have any idea?
I have no idea.
I don't even know if they've put out their like, if they've said anything about their plans at BlizzCon in the past week. Couldn't tell you because they have not pierced their other bullshit that they're having out there publicly. So I have no idea. What else? Oh, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was delayed. It's going to launch later in 2020.
Yep. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 was delayed, and Larian Studios has not delayed, put a hold on their announced project that they had. Basically, it got to the point where apparently the company that was making the game and Larian were just too far off base with each other. And the company said, well, we're going to go ahead and keep developing our own game then. And Larian said, okay, I guess we'll just put this on hold for now. So that project doesn't even have a delay. It's just paused.
Okay. What
Are you guys
what was
in the
that
same
thing?
boat as me when you hear about a game being delayed that you're kind of excited for, and you get do you get a sense of like a good feeling, like good?
Yeah.
Like,
Completely.
I don't get disappointed at all. Like when someone says like, hey, this game you've been waiting for is going to be delayed because we're not going to be able to finish in time. I'm like, yes, good, yes, please.
Yeah, I'm
Dude.
fine with it.
Exactly. When Doom said that, awesome. Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2, we were talking about this today on the stream. We have waited over 10 years from the last Vampire the Masquerade game. The idea that they're going to then rush out a subpar product instead of like letting us wait a few more months to get something that's amazing, or even another year. Like it's been over 10 years, dude. Like, take your time. It's cool. We don't need another Fallout 76 that just gets rushed out the door, broken as hell to just make money off the IP. Nobody wants that. Nobody. So yeah, take your time, man. Take your time.
Yeah.
Please take your time.
I think also along with like taking your time for a streamer, we were talking about schedules earlier. A lot of times all those games are launching around the same time. So any sense of like, hey, there's more than 3 days to play this game before another game comes out, I'm super on board for. So like when Doom got delayed, I was like, thank God. Like, thank God we have a tiny bit of a break.
By the way, real quick, to correct this in chat about the Skull and Bones thing, I was pretty vocal about the fact that I was pretty disappointed Skull and Bones got paused, for the record. I wasn't mad that Skull and Bones got delayed. I was kind of frustrated because apparently that project like has slowed down. It's not like they're wanting more time to make it good. Like, we don't even know what's going to happen to that game at this point. They just stopped talking about it. So that's a little bit different when
that is weird. I haven't heard a thing about it. It was like all over the trailers and like E3 and stuff, and then it was like nowhere.
Yeah. So just to make that distinction, it's two different things to have a delay to make a game better and a we might not release this game type of announcement.
Yeah,
those are a little different.
And then the last bit, we probably won't spend too much time on it just because it's not in our wheelhouse, but Fortnite Chapter 2 came out, which less about the game for us, more about like the idea of how they marketed was pretty cool. Like, it was a pretty cool thing that they did. They kept a game that was offline in the top of Twitch for 72 hours, 36 hours. I don't know how long it was. But that's kind of a crazy thing, that a game wasn't even playable and it was the top of Twitch the entire time. So yeah, I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on that.
Yeah, the end event was cool. Like, I watched a few videos from a few different perspectives. Like, you could see how emotionally impactful the end was for some of these streamers. And I mean, when you've been playing a game every day for, as long as they have, and then to have this big event where, essentially like the world you've been living in for thousands of hours is like destroyed in front of you and you don't know what's going to happen next. Like, that's a really, really cool thing to do. The only thing that I think they definitely should have done differently is they sponsored a huge amount of big streamers to watch this,
right?
But then gave them no information on what was happening. So for the few hours following this big black hole thing, I mean, there were people being very vocal, like, what, are the servers down? Is this broken? Like, what's going on? Like, nobody knew what was happening. And I feel like they could have done that better to build anticipation or to, like, better manage expectations. Like, it was very strange because for the longest time, there were people saying that the servers were being DDoS and they couldn't come up. There were people saying that the software was broken and didn't load properly. Like, even the big streamers were getting frustrated because, like, I remember one being like, I'm sponsored to just watch this, I guess. Like, I don't even know what I'm doing.
Were they sponsored? So, I never saw like, an actual. Okay,
I believe
I
some
didn't
of them
actually.
Not 100%,
sponsored.
but I think some of them were. But even then, I mean, it's their livelihood for these guys. Like, what else are they going to do in most cases? Like, they're Fortnite.
Well,
so I remember there were a couple streamers that just watched that black hole for hours and hours and hours.
It was also a little shitty that there were also streamers that just went live with a countdown of when it was coming back. So did they like clue those people in? Was that because they saw the leaked video? Like, that's, I don't know. That's a little
just trolling and yeah,
I don't know. That's a little weird.
Little bit too murky.
It is,
in my opinion, but that's a clean area. But everything else leading up to it and afterwards was pretty top notch.
Yeah, Zeke, what were you?
Well, I mean, the thing about Fortnite is that you have.
Yeah, again, didn't care for the game at all. But the marketing stuff was crazy. It was real. It was crazy to see that they held the top spot on Twitch for like 2 days. Didn't even have
articles
any gameplay
being written all over the place. Like major new. There was I think I want to say it was Wall Street Journal or New York Times or somebody. There's they recently opened like a gaming division called Launcher, I think.
Yeah,
and one of the guys that was writing for it was like, hey, I just submitted like one of our first articles on this Fortnite thing. Oh, now it's the fifth most. Oh, now it's the third. Oh, it's the top rated article on our website. And it's just like, well, I guess whoever came up with that idea is sitting, pretty happy about this.
Yeah.
But, yeah. It was pretty wild, man. It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Now the whole thing was just it said season 2 or whatever it's called.
Chapter 2.
Fortnite,
yeah. It was like
Chapter
a
2 or whatever.
kind
Yeah,
of.
not they're done with seasons and now it's chapter.
Okay. Is it just a new map? Was like the biggest thing?
No, actually,
There's a lot.
it's a new map and a whole
Okay.
bunch of new systems. So now there's different ways to progress. So they have like an achievement / challenge system. They're gonna be having
Okay.
new skins in the old skins. I don't know what this means, but I heard there's like a green jacket on the old skins. I don't know if that's by the icon or actually on them. I have no idea. There's like fishing now. They basically just kind of it was like a major update. It was kind of like a PoE update where they like put in some new mechanics. It's mostly the same game, but there's new challenges, new ways to progress, things like that.
Yeah.
But
Just
at
when I
heart,
thought I couldn't care less about the game, you mentioned fishing, and I could actually care even less. Now, I don't want to give the impression that I'm hating on Fortnite. No, I like people were talking in my chat the other day, and this like Fortnite came up, and people were like, spouting, talking shit and stuff like that. I was like, don't do that. They're gamers. They're gamers too. We're all gamers.
same team.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're on the same team. We play like in different like leagues or whatever, but like we're playing the same game. So like, stop. No need to be negative. I'm not saying I'm not bashing Fortnite. I'm saying it has absolutely no appeal to me.
A good way to think about it is like musicians. Like musicians play all sorts of different instruments. They all play different types of music, but at the same time, you get two musicians in a room, and they're going to have a lot to talk about. Because foundationally, there's a lot of things that they do between the scales and the music and stuff like that. Yeah, each have their own flavor, but at the same time, at the core, you guys are mostly similar, especially compared to all the other people out there.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah.
Zeke, who do we hate?
The LOL players.
No video gamers. You know who we hate? Chess players.
Fucking
Fuck
chess.
those guys.
Wait, I was in chess club.
Pretentious.
I was in chess club too. I was. It was with our physics teacher, who was like the chaperone. I don't know of the chess club.
Huh. Okay. Were you in chess club, Co, or are you just looking at us in distaste?
I was in the anti-chess club.
Oh.
Yeah, basically we
Was
just
that
made
called
it. We just,
football? What?
no, we would go to the chess club with pots and pans and bullhorns. We would do our best to distract them while they were playing.
I see. Co, were you a part of any clubs in high school? Random tangent.
Video game club. I ran it.
Oh, they had a video game club? Okay.
I made it.
Oh, okay. I was like, what fucking high school did you go to?
No, I
Video
basically
game club.
there was
Privileged
a club,
Tie was the name of it.
and I actually convinced the school to let us use the computer lab. So we would go in there and we would like the game. Dude, the first game we ever played was an old game called Abuse. Have you ever heard of that game?
I've heard of the game of abuse. Go. What the fuck?
It's actually
not
an
a
old
game you
side
want to
scroller
play.
game.
What the fuck?
Dude, it was an old game. It was an old side-scroller game called Abuse. It was one of the first games that you could play multiplayer over LAN. So it was a side-scroll PvP game. It was really cool. I want to say it was by Bungie or something.
I've never heard of that.
But yeah, I remember like it took us like 2 hours to set it up and everything. It was so cool. It was so much fun.
Jesus.
It was great. It was a Bungie game. Yes, it was a Bungie game.
Really?
Absolutely. Bungie called Abuse. You can Google Abuse game right now. Yep.
That's weird.
That was the first game that I played in a LAN in God, it was middle school. It wasn't
Had
even
to
high
have
school.
been middle school. Yeah, that's early. That's early.
What other clubs were you in, JP? I'm curious.
That's what I was about to ask you. I was in chess. I don't think I was a part of any clubs in high school. I wasn't a part of any sports. They kept trying, because I was 6 feet in middle school, they kept trying to get like, you should get out there and play some basketball. You could just stand in the center and you'll be great. It's like, no, I don't. I'm not. I play video games. I'm not out there trying to do anything athletic. So, yeah, I don't think I was a part of any clubs apart from chess in middle school.
I was in
Somebody just brought up a really good point, by the way. Oh, I was just gonna say, someone brought up a really good point. Don't Google Abuse game. Don't.
Yeah, no, that's just the general. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do
Didn't
that.
even think of the connotation.
I
Like,
should
don't
have
do
thought
that.
it could be
through a
so
little
many
bit.
things. Yeah.
Don't do that.
That's probably not a good idea.
I'm sorry, that was a mistake.
I was in chess club. I was in drama club.
That makes sense.
I was in I'm only thinking about the things that were like after school activities, like
Yeah.
because I wouldn't say like the school newspaper, because that was an in-class thing.
Oh, I was part of that. I was school newspaper. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I was also in the non-official drugs club in high school.
Wait.
We just
What?
hung out and did drugs.
Yeah, I started saying, like, is that
Yeah.
was that just like the way that you guys got to hang out and talk about drugs without getting in trouble?
No, we didn't actually call it drugs club, but that's what it was.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. High school. Anyways, we're due for a break. We should probably take that and then come back and actually talk about video games. Though we don't have we got some Indie Sundays to go through. So Zeke will be bringing that.
Yeah,
new
we got
stuff.
a few games to talk about, and man, there's a couple that I really want to talk about. So
Yeah. Co, what was that? Can we talk about what that face was, Co?
Yeah, just real quick. I
Okay.
just realized that game called Carrion is coming out soon. Do you guys remember that? We saw it at E3. You play that weird, like, alien carnage style monster that the humans have trapped in a lab, and the whole game is about you busting out and killing everybody. Apparently, Devolver just posted a minute ago that like it's coming. It's gonna be here soon. This game it looks really cool.
Was that during the Devolver Digital thing? That's probably why I
think
didn't
it
see
was.
it. Okay. Yeah, I didn't watch that in full, so that's probably why.
I'll pop it in chat for people that were talking about it a second ago.
Cool. Is the meme around that? Yikes forever. What is that about?
You know, I've
You'll
seen
see.
that a lot today. I'm
You'll
not
see.
sure what that is.
you'll see.
I'll see. Okay. All right. We'll
Yep,
see.
it's going to be a part of my thing, the indie
Gotcha.
thing.
Okay. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back.
Wait,
and,
hold on.
talk
I think
about some other stuff.
Yikes forever. Yikes forever.
Oh, is that from Little
Ah.
Misfortune?
Maybe so. All right. Let's take a break. We'll come back and talk about games like we were just saying right after this. We'll see you guys then.